Laken Riley should have been able to go on a run in broad daylight without being murdered by an illegal immigrant. But Joe Biden promised not to deport illegal immigrants.
Should that person be deported? That person should not be the focus of deportation.
Biden vowed not to detain illegal immigrants who crossed the border.
No one would be put in jail while waiting for their hearing.
So when Jose Ibarra crossed into America illegally, he was not deported. He was not put in jail. Biden also supported sanctuary cities.
Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No.
So when Jose Ibarra was arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he was freed a second time. Ibarra went to Georgia, where he beat Laken Riley to death. How many more killers has Biden set free?
If you could give President Trump, or if you were able to talk to President Trump tonight, what would you like him to know?
I would like to say, Mr. President, I am so sorry for believing the lies that the mainstream media has just projected on me and that I fell for and I believed. I stand by you. I love you. I thank you for what you're doing for this country, and I'm so sorry that I just took it for granted and I did not even see it. But I do see it now, and you have one more supporter standing beside you and praying for you.
I bet you there's a lot of that going on lately. How about you? Have you had enough? Are you completely over the nonsense at the border? Donald Trump threw down the gauntlet yesterday at his rallies, and he delivered a message that has caused libnut heads across the country to explode. Do you know what arguably is the biggest issue, the number one, maybe number two issue concerning Americans these days? Well, neck and neck with the economy, it's the immigration policy and what's going on down at the southern border. Or rather, the lack of policy that the Depends diaper-wearing occupant of the White House is presiding over. With all of the rampant crime that's being committed by these newcomers, people have had enough. But it's a very personal question. So let me ask you, have you had enough? Do you want to see an end to this incentivized lawlessness? Well, it seems at this point that Donald Trump has decided to make the economy, of course, and the southern border a priority in his campaign.
But I stand before you today to declare that Joe Biden's border a bloodbath, and that's what it is. It's a bloodbath. They tried to use that term incorrectly on me 2 weeks ago. You know, it's all about misinformation. That's all they do. But it's a border bloodbath, and it's destroying our country. It's a very bad thing happening. It's going to end on the day that I take office, which will be January 20th. It'll end. On day one, I will seal the border and will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. And if other countries say they won't take them back, we're not going to take them back. I will say that, yeah, here they come. You're just going to hold on to your britches, because here they come. They're coming back.
Boom! That's a resounding message that Donald Trump just put out there. How can anyone have any issue with that? Never mind, don't answer that. You have to realize when the entirety of your political operation, your agenda, is to subvert Americans and our way of life, then of course, Donald Trump's message is going to bother you. How do I know that? Because they literally have no response. After hearing Donald Trump speak at not one, but two rallies yesterday, what did Poo Poo Diaper Joe decide that he and his staff were going to focus on?
So when Donald Trump is talking about a bloodbath, it is violent rhetoric. What was it when Joe Biden said in 2020, what we can't let happen is let this primary become a negative bloodbath?
So I'm going to be really mindful and careful about Donald Trump, but if you read, because he is a candidate, we're talking about a 2024 election, you should read what he said in its context.
Say what?
Since you asked for some context, let me show you something.
100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath.
He was talking about the auto industry. I don't care how you clip it. We all know the truth. He was talking about the auto industry.
So you got to read what he said in context.
Bloodbath is an ugly word. When Trump uses it, what is it when Biden uses it?
No. Let's be very clear. You got.
Now, you notice what she said. She said, you have to read what he said. We don't have to read. We just saw a video. The video is out there. She's looking at a transcript. She's trying to direct your attention to a transcript and go, ooh, this looks bad. He said bloodbath. He said bloodbath right here. You can see where he said it, but you didn't watch the video and you're not taking the context that you so dearly want.
Actually asked me the question in context of what it was said, right? And what it was said when he said that, right? In his remarks, in his speech, right? And so that's being disingenuous in your question.
I'm reading a direct quote from Joe Biden. What we can't let happen is let this primary become a negative.
But look at the frustration. She knows she's backed into a corner right now. And she's like, oh my God. So Miss Disingenuous here is kind of realizing at this point, shit, I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know how to extricate myself from this mess.
Bloodbath.
He was talking about a group of people.
No, he wasn't. He was talking about the auto industry. She stood right there, looked at him, and lied to his face.
A group of people. That's what he's talking about. What the president was talking about during the primary was not to allow it to be the words and the primary and that election to become negative.
Blah, 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 blah. It's a word. Get over it. Live your life. Bloodbath, bloodbath, bloodbath. Come on. Is this what we're really talking about in a presidential press conference? We're talking about the use of a word? How about the actual bloodbath?
Two different things. They're not the same. They're not the same. And your question is disingenuous.
Can you believe this woman? I mean, seriously, can you believe the audacity and pomposity of this woman?
And so, look, I'm going to be really mindful here. I'm going to be really careful. We have to denounce violent rhetoric, wherever it comes from.
Obviously not, because I can show you a 4-minute compilation where everybody in the media was using the word, but I'm not going to bore you with that.
Former leader, we have to denounce that.
Are you serious? Come on, you've got to be kidding me. Raggedy Ann had the nerve to stand up there with all of her attitude and pomposity and call somebody else disingenuous. When you look at the definition of disingenuous, her picture is on it. She's wearing the crown of Miss Disingenuous, and she's had the title for a couple years now. But Raggedy Ann, she couldn't let it go. And what was really funny is a few of the reporters decided to grow a pair and begin actually asking her questions about it, trying to get some clarity, you know. Even they realized the absurdity of what she was saying.
Right, going back to the bloodbath question.
You look at her face like, another one? Are you really coming at me again? Yes, we're going to keep coming at you.
Former president used that terminology.
And notice she had to go back a page because she thought she had turned the page. I'm past this. I got past Ducey. I got past Ducey. Let me move on to the next person because they're not going to ask me about this, are they? Yeah, they are.
A week or two ago, but he's talking about it again today.
Did you notice the deep breath, the calming breath, the soothing breath of, I don't know how to get out of this.
What's the White House reaction to the use of that term bloodbath?
I'm going to be really mindful here because...
And by the way, this did happen consecutively at the same press conference. This wasn't cut to show you one day or another. She's got the same clothing on. She's standing right there. She was not prepared to have to deal with this.
It is President, obviously the former president is also a candidate here. So want to follow the law and with the Hatch Act.
Yeah, because we know you're really worried about the law.
But we have to denounce. Our response is we have to denounce any violent rhetoric that we hear, certainly from our leaders.
Did she not watch the State of the Union or the Red Wedding speech that poo-poo diaper Joe gave? Did she not see any of that?
Right? That tears our country apart. It could tear our country apart and puts our fellow Americans in harm's way, in danger. So we have to denounce that.
If you're worried about what puts fellow Americans in danger, how about addressing what Donald Trump actually said? You know, stopping people from coming across the border.
And look, I think, and we think, that the American people wants to see the country coming together. That's
Sure, we'd all love that. When are you going to start?
what they want. They want to make sure that we respect our democracy.
So they did a poll recently. I'd have to find it, but they keep using this term, defending democracy. Oh, our democracy is at risk. I think they need to look at that poll of Americans. When they look at that poll, democracy was like number 10. It was economy, border, economy, and then everything else is below it. Democracy was down here, under the table, below the camera. Yeah, it's down there. Nobody gives a shit about you if you're wondering about whether democracy is at risk. We all know that democracy is at risk right now because Poo-Poo Diaper Joe is in the White House. That's why we know democracy is at risk, but we need to fix the other stuff because then we can take care of democracy.
I believe that there is a bloodbath taking place or a wave of...
And here's another question. She's like, are you guys kidding me? Are you bringing this up again? Yep, we're going to keep hitting you.
migrant crime.
Look, I would never talk to somebody like that. I would never demean somebody by saying, look, I'm about to educate you. Okay, so you need to take what I'm about to say as gospel. Look.
We've been very clear about, I just laid out to Josh, when it comes to immigrants, how...
I guess it wasn't clear to Josh because the next reporter asked you the same question. And notice what she just said there. Notice the subtle difference that she just said there. She said, I've been very clear in what I just laid out to Josh regarding immigrants. Nobody, and I do mean nobody that I know of, has a problem with legal immigrants. God knows I'm a product of one. My father, my uncles, my grandmother, many aunts, uncles, like I said, came from Jamaica, but they came in the front door. And when he came in the front door, he built a business. And this was back in the 60s, so, where racism really existed. And somehow he was able to overcome, and we weren't eating the government cheese. But, right now, what she just did was very subtle. She goes, I just talked to Josh about immigrants. Nobody's asking you about immigrants. Let's continue.
How important they are to the fabric of this country, how important they are to the strength of this country, to our economy.
Now, you see what she just did there? She just said that immigrants are very, very, very valuable to the United States, to America, because of the value they bring to the economy. Legal immigrants. She tried to shift it right there, and watch what happens, because even the people in the audience, the reporters are like, you can't be serious what you just did there, right? So we're going to ask you again. Watch what happens.
And that continues to be true, right? That's something that this president believes.
Is the view of this administration...
All right, so here he comes with a follow-up question after she just spewed that crap about immigrants being valued to the fabric of America, which they are, legal immigrants. He picked up on it, and he's like, I'm going to give you a chance to clarify this before everybody sees it. Here's her answer.
That the inflow of immigrants do more to strengthen the United States or hurt the United States.
And he did it in a very inquisitory tone. Are you really saying that this flow of people is to strengthen America? Is that what you're saying? And giving her the opportunity to say, no, I didn't mean that. I meant legal immigrants. But of course, she doesn't respond that way.
Does it do more?
So, Josh, I appreciate the question, and I think it's an important question as we're hearing clearly awful rhetoric from the other side. But what we know, what this president believes, and you've heard this president say this before, is that we know immigrants strengthen our country and our economy as well. It goes hand in hand here.
See what she did there? You see how they slyly gaslight you and how they just try to put a story and then put a layer on the story when they get caught? She completely walked away from the fact that these people are illegal immigrants. Not immigrants. As I said, my family has been full of legal immigrants. I'm sure some of you know, or may even have people in your family who were legal immigrants. And she's comparing those people to the people who are surging at the southern border, who are just running over soldiers, who can't engage. That's insane. And that's the message that Donald Trump is going to run on. Trump is talking about a real issue that affects Americans. And what does she want you to focus on? A word. They seriously want you to take your focus away from what's happening so they can talk about a word. They don't want to go anywhere near Trump's message. And as I said, the reason why is they can't respond to it. They can't do any sort of rebuttal. Hey, I'm going to stop illegal immigration. I'm going to try and lower the crime and tell these other countries, keep your people and send a bunch of them back. Oh, but he said a bad word. He said a word we don't like that we're going to try and take out of the dictionary at this point. Oh, by the way, after he said it, that's indeed what they did. They changed the definition of the word bloodbath. They attack vocabulary all over the place, but that's for another video. So let me prove to you what Donald Trump is doing and how he's attacking this issue for Americans so you can be armed with some knowledge to talk to your family and friends. Check this out.
Under Biden, the bad ones are coming in at a level that nobody ever thought was even possible. Nobody thought this was possible. In Venezuela, the crime is down 67% from what it was a year and a half ago, because they're taking all of their gangs and all of their criminals and they're depositing them into the United States of America. Venezuela, think of it, their crime. Wouldn't we love to have a statistic where crime is down 67%? Ours is only going in one direction.
How do they respond to that? Poo-Poo Diaper Joe can't have any response whatsoever to what Donald Trump just said. And because he has no response, they don't even want you to know what Donald Trump is saying. That's why the networks refuse to carry his rallies. They keep saying, oh, he's going to talk about some stuff that's misinformation, he's going to lie, and so we're not going to show it. But then they show the press conferences, and then they show Poo-Poo Diaper Joe talking, but that's okay. If people actually focused on Poo-Poo Diaper Joe allowing other countries to empty their prisons and send their criminals to the southern border to force their way into America.
The Trump administration, we had a tough policy of getting the bad people out. We wanted to get them out. We took them out by the thousands, and we took, as an example, the MS-13 gangs out. The countries didn't want to let them back in, and I said, well, then we're not giving you any money. We give them so much money, in this case, $793 million. I said, that's okay. We're not going to give you any money. And they said, well, we'd be glad to have MS-13 coming back into our country. It'd be an honor. And they took them back, but they wouldn't take them back under Obama. Under the Obama administration with Biden, they wouldn't take them back. And I was told that they won't take them back. And I said, really, what do we give them? And it was close to $800 million. I said, tell them we're not giving it to them anymore. And they immediately said, let's take them back. That negotiation, sheriffs lasted about 3 minutes, and we succeeded.
Like I said, Poo-Poo Diaper Joe can't respond to that. Imagine a reporter at a press conference, if he ever did one, asking Poo-Poo Diaper Joe, why are you not playing hardball with Mexico? He'd have no answer. In fact, the president of Mexico is playing hardball with us. In fact, he's saying, not only are we not taking these people back, but you need to invest billions over here. Give us some money. Other countries are laughing at us, and Donald Trump knows that, and he's bringing it to the forefront. Just imagine this scenario. It's a nice, beautiful, warm, sunny day. Sometime this summer, blue skies everywhere. You're having a great time. You're sitting on the porch with your wife, having a cup of iced tea, maybe a Diet Coke, and you see this pickup truck coming down your driveway, and it doesn't stop in the driveway. It decides to drive up on your lawn. Gets up on your lawn, two guys get out, go to the back of the pickup truck, take their garbage and throw it on your lawn right in front of you. Get back in the truck and drive away. What would you do? Well, if you're Poo-Poo Diaper Joe, you do nothing. You pick up the garbage, you clean it up, you take it, bring it to the curb and put it in a can. You don't do anything about the guys who just did it to you. That's what's going on in America right now. Before anybody gets all riled up, I am not calling an illegal immigrant garbage. That's what's called an analogy, a metaphor, if you will. I'm not calling a human being garbage. I wouldn't do that. That's not something that would ever come out of my mouth. I think I'm giving you an example of being disingenuous right now. It's got to stop. I hope you understand what I just did and how I showed you. You are being insulted. You are being offended. People are throwing garbage on your front lawn, and there's nothing that you can do about it, because there's nothing that's stopping them from doing so. And again, I'm not talking about people being garbage. And you know why? Because the garbage bag won't try to break into your house. The garbage bag won't try to kill you. That's what some of these illegal immigrants are doing. So they're not garbage, not whatsoever. The bad guys are who I'm talking about. And the bad guys are who Donald Trump is talking about.
Remember that we're here this afternoon in Grand Rapids, Michigan, 1,283 miles from the southern border. You've been hearing a lot about the southern border over the last couple of years. We put up a chart which is border related, and you see the lowest point in history was just before I left. Just as I was leaving, that was the lowest point. You see the arrows pointing? And I think that chart spells out better than anything I can say today. In fact, I don't have to say anything. I can just leave. Just take a look at that. That is the best. And then it looks like a rocket ship went off. When you look at the other numbers, it's a shame. It's a sad shame. Under crooked Joe Biden, every state is now a border state. Every town is now a border town, because Joe Biden has brought the carnage and chaos and killing from all over the world and dumped it straight into our backyards. And people are coming in from prisons and mental institutions, and nobody's ever seen anything like it.
He's right. No one has ever seen anything like we're seeing right now. That chart does indeed speak for itself. We are all collectively living in Poo-Poo Diaper Joe's nightmare here in America. And you have to understand, this is completely unsustainable. We're under attack at the border. We're under attack in our homes and in our real estate. We're under attack in our investments. We're under attack at the grocery store and at the gas station. And we're even under attack in our children's schools and in our churches. And Donald Trump is highlighting that and telling you he wants to do something about it. Well, as the other guy doesn't even want to discuss it, wants you to focus on jargon, on words, on vocabulary. Those things aren't going to stop the attack. We don't have to be reminded by Donald Trump. We see the carnage every single day. But still, they don't even want you to hear Donald Trump's messaging. They would much rather you focus on these individual words. Unfortunately for them, it really isn't Donald Trump's message. It's America's message. This is our country. We are the ones who can see this happening every single day. And we can see there's nobody out there fighting for us. And we can also see that Poo-Poo Diaper Joe has no answer for it. Oh, and get prepared and stay prepared. November is quite a ways off, and it's likely that things are going to get worse. But at least we have someone fighting for us in Donald Trump. He's putting the message out there, letting everybody know I'm here to fight for you. Do me a favor, share this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel so I can continue doing the same in my little corner of the world here. And let me know what you think about Donald Trump's messaging and this administration's woeful response to it by focusing on a word. Talk to you soon.